Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete for Anxiety here, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about. Welcome in today's episode. Before we get started today, we need to cover a few things really quick. Let's talk about the Pete for Anxiety Patreon first off. It's only $1, guys. $1. What does $1 get you? $1 gets you into the exclusive episodes I am recording currently. I'm actually focusing on certain different diagnoses of things to show you guys what it actually looks like as it manifests in a person. So why not for $1, judges? Yeah, they said $1. I just checked with them too. See, they said it was okay. It was $1 anyways. Let's also talk about the Oracle Talk Radio Networks app. In case you can't be here live listening to me, watching this video, supporting the show, you can listen to it on the radio app. Why not? It connects us live to our 365 radio. Just go to your app stores and download the Oracle Talk Radio Network. You'll see the big old Oracle Talk Radio Network app logo right on there. Download it and it'll connect you to me, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, to Pete vs. Anxiety when I'm live doing my thing right here, informing the world and raising mental health awareness. So where are you going to be? 10 a.m. Of course. Come on. We just talked about this. Pay attention for once. Damn. Do you all know how to listen? And as always, guys, like, follow, and share the YouTube channel. If you guys like what you're seeing, leave some comments, man. We want to know. I want to know if you like what you're on. You want to be on the show? Let me know. Hit me up at PeteVersusAnxietyPod@gmail.com. And as always, guys, enjoy the show. And by the way, did I mention to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because some of y'all are hard of hearing in the back, may have to yell louder or get a megaphone or something. But, anyways, let's get today's show started. Y'all have a great one. Enjoy. So welcome into the exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health's talked about enough. My guest today and the special guest of the month, please welcome the host of Mentally a Badass, Justine. Justine, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your podcast. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Definitely, me too, man. I've been watching your stuff and everything else. I've been listening to everything. I remember Stephanie was a mutual guest of ours. For all you guys remember, Stephanie Acock was actually on the show last year. Justine actually had interviewed her as well, and she had mentioned that by saying, I tell people, hey, ask how your mental health. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about your podcast?
Yeah, so I started Mentally a Badass in 2021 for the purpose of it's going to be solo episodes talking about my challenges, giving advice. But then my friends started wanting to be on the podcast to talk about their stories, and I 100% definitely invite that. Like that's the whole point is people who bring on their stories, then it creates like a whole ripple effect, right? So when more people kept coming onto the podcast, I was like, all right, so this is this is what it's going to be. So what people can find when they listen to the podcast is that we have a whole range of topic from anxiety up until like we talk about even hypnosis and alternative medication. The most recent episode, I talked to a Miracle Man who was able to like heal his MS, and he has like it's a certain program that he does. I'm actually currently in the process of doing it right now. I'm his like guinea pig for his new program, and it's basically like mastering the mind. So there is some personal development, there's some spirituality, there's a lot of like talking about trauma. We talk a lot about childhood trauma, since that is something that is deep to me as well. Like I talk about my childhood trauma. So yeah, there's a wide range of topics. And I feel if anybody goes and checks out Mentally a Badass, they can definitely find something that they can probably relate to. But the whole idea is to encourage vulnerability. So yeah, the more conversations we have, the more people that come on, the more that it spreads and creates that ripple effect.
That's exactly what we're doing today. We're having a conversation, talking to more people. Guys, you have to go check it out. It's great. And I love this show. I love doing it. This started out as just that. It's just interviewing different people coming on. They come and share their stories. We've had some oh shit moments on this show. I think this year alone, we've already had the oh shit moment of the year. Guy came on, and a gentleman by the name of Brian DiCasio came on. Brian is actually a good friend of the show. I talk to him all the time. He literally sat there at the place you were at, told us that morning he had suicidal ideations of offing himself right there, sitting at the edge of the bed with a gun in hand. He's literally describing this now as this is going on live. And I'm just like, holy crap. Everybody's in the chat going, oh shit. And they're just saying like, oh, what? And then after the show, I swear, like I got like 20 different messages from people going, hey, is he okay? I'm like, yeah, I talked to him already. What do you mean? He's liking a lot of the videos I have. I mean, I guess he's still alive unless, it's his ghost doing it or something. But, when it comes to mental health, you should already know this thing is interesting, quick, and fast in a hurry, man. Like we've got just crazy things have gone on here. So it's been great so far.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome though. Like I have I've had different guests such as, Lucy Lenore from Haunter. I've got like rock stars. I've got a lot of authors that come out. I don't know if you've got a lot of them yet. I've got people.
Same. Oh, I've
Like,
had like a wide range. I've had authors, I've had coaches, I've even had like musicians as well and actors. I
yeah.
like yeah, it's amazing.
Isn't it so cool? Because it's like, if I would have told you a year ago this is what I've been doing, I would have laughed at you because I had a podcast prior and I
Mhm.
know some people find it. It was just basically just that. It was a solo project at first. Like I just wanted to tell people some wild stories about things I dealt with. It started off with a girl who basically went bananas at the store. She was taking drugs, paranoid. It involves her telling somebody that the birds are telling her a person in the grocery parking lot across the way is going to go land a plane in the parking lot type of thing, to her
Uh-huh.
disappearing for 3 hours at a time. And I didn't think people would take it to the biggest uproar as it did. It flew off the shelves. And then when I brought in a co-host for the couple other seasons afterwards, it just kind of went downward trending because like she just like made it weird. Like she talk
Oh,
about things.
the host.
Yeah, she made things weird.
Oh.
So then decided to take a mental reset, and then that's when I started this show, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try something different. And then I've been doing my own mental health challenges myself, so I kind of go through my own journey. And I figured I'm like, there's got to be other people like me out here. And then lo and behold, here we go. Pete versus Society is found. Within the first month of the idea even being put out there, I got offered a network. So now we're actually live on the Oracle Talk Radio Network now, their radio app and everything else, and my socials and their socials and stuff. And it's been great ever since then, man. I get to meet new people every day. I've had all different kinds of authors, musicians, people doing different things all over the world. And I've been heard as far as Australia that I know of right now, currently.
So you're in a network right now?
hmm
Oh, that's cool. What's it called again? I couldn't hear what you said.
Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Oh, that's very cool. Congrats on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a great thing. Tom, the guy who's one of the co-founders, he hosts the show. What is this now? Damn, now I can't think of what his show is. He does like UFO stuff and things like that. He
Mhm.
actually reached out when he saw my when I was in a Facebook group posting about looking for guests for the show in the early stages. He had reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to be a part of this network?" And I replied back with, "Hey, I don't have anything recorded, guys, so I hope this is okay." And he's like, "Yeah, why not? It's a brand new network. We're trying to give smaller shows a wider, broad range to be heard more." And I'm like, "Sure, why not? Let's go for it." And lo and behold,
Awesome.
there's we are now. Like I've got a Patreon. I've got so much stuff going on. I don't even know what to do half the days I'm even off.
Yeah, no, I totally feel the same way on that. I'm in the did I say Podwatch? Oh my goodness. Podmatch network because they have their own network as well. I don't know
hmm
if you're in it. I'm not
Nope, gonna have
100%.
to look into that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If you go to like podmatch.com/network, you could apply to be on it. So I'm on theirs, which is really cool.
Yeah,
And yeah, so and I'm when it comes to sponsorships, I'm trying to get sponsors. It's a little challenging, but it's in the works.
yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I've got like some ad reads I do here and there that my audio side, because I do an audio side as well. So I take all the conversations I have here on YouTube and I set it out to Spotify and everything else because some people just don't like YouTube. So if you like Our Heart Radio, I'm there. I'm there on Amazon. I'm there on Apple. I'm there on Spotify. But I have like Sprecher that sends it out for me. So like I put it in one place and it shoots off to everything else for me. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, same. I use
So
Podbean.
there you go. Well, I did use Podbean for a while, and then I decided to leave and go to something else because the cost didn't justify it at first because I was doing that
Mhm.
other podcast, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not seeing what I want out of this. So I
Yeah.
went back to Sprecher because that's originally what I was using. And a lot of people always ask me, said, like, how do you get the monetization already? I'm like, I don't know. I've been kind of figuring this thing out. I'm 2 years, year and a half into this thing, and I'm still figuring out how this all works. So yeah, it's been fun though.
Think you need to give me some porters. My God, I'm so sorry. I think it's the end of the day and I don't know how to talk anymore.
Girl, I did two
Yeah.
interviews prior to you. Trust me. I'm like,
Yeah, and I had a pretty long day. Usually when I do all my episodes, it's always like in like the afternoon where I
yeah.
kind of yeah. So I was saying give me some pointers like after this. Like I'm curious to see what you do
Yeah, yeah,
with the whole
definitely. I'm like,
monetization.
but all I did really, honestly, in Spreckers, you just go in there. It's a button in there, and they'll let you do the monetization that way. But I guess that's what it is. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. And
Hmm.
I'm always willing to lend help to people wherever I can. I always support people's shows. I tell people about yours all the time. I'm like, yeah, y'all gotta go check
Oh,
this out,
really?
man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So nice
Stephanie,
of
like I said,
you.
I mention Stephanie all the time too. I always message her and tell her about it, and she's laughing and all that. It's like, oh, awesome. She's like, She told me, and in a conversation she was talking to her team about trying to get me some production credit in the movie if she gets it made eventually, and giving me like some kind of credit in it, because I've been talking to everybody about it. Any kind of person I talk to think would fit
Oh,
into that realm of that universe. I was like, hey, go check out my friend Stephanie. Go check out her movies. This is the website. Go look at. And I send all the information out to people all the time and stuff like that. So I was like, whoa, okay, that's awesome. I'll do that.
that's
That's all I want.
yeah, she's awesome. She said to me that whenever the movie gets made, that she'll invite me to the red carpet.
She told me the same thing too. I was like, yep, let's go. I'm
I'm like,
down.
I'm down. I don't care where it is. Like, let me
I'm
know.
get.
I'll go.
I've already
LA,
planned.
LA, New York.
I've already planned an obscene color suit and everything. I'm going. Yeah, I'm gonna stand out loud. I'm gonna be loud as ever. Maybe I can
Yes,
get one. Maybe I can get one of my logo put on it. You never know. 3D screen printing these days is great. I'll do it too. I'm telling you. I'll come in so he gets this just straight up with it on. Like, oh look, who's that? Oh, there's no way you can miss who this is.
iconic.
So other than that, how's it been going though? I mean, I see yourself all the time. Any type of people you usually focus on, or you just kind of grabbing whoever you can get to come on and talk to you.
Yeah, so the main thing that I look for in a guest is that they have to have like a heart-wrenching story. Like they had
Hmm.
to have gone through hell pretty much. Like there has to be something that they went through, some type of trauma, in order for them to come on our podcast and talk about it as an expert. The whole idea of mentally badass is to be relatable. So if I have
Yeah.
somebody like on a podcast, let's say, who are just like a professor or something that is going to talk about, let's say, I don't know, anxiety, or I'm just giving you like a random example.
No, you're good. Go for
Um,
it.
like just talking about something that they never personally have went through, like that I have to say no to, even though like there has been some people that reached out and it's like a certain topic where I think it's so cool. And I'm like, oh, I love this topic. Like I love to learn. But I asked the guy and I was like, well, did you ever experiencing this yourself? And he was like, no, but I witnessed other people experiencing it. And I'm like, I have to kind of keep to I have to, like, that's like the whole like heart of mentally a badass. And
Mhm.
and even though like I think the topic is really cool, I kind of have to stick with, I can't like lose like the
Yeah, gotta keep
idea of
your
mental.
standards. Yeah, makes sense.
Exactly. Like a certain, like even though like I'm sure this person would have been fantastic, it's just that if I have someone that didn't actually experiencing it, while I literally promote mentally a badass as that, like I'm
Mhm.
not gonna do that. You know, it's not right. So I unfortunately had to deny him, but that's like the main thing. Is and then also I mean I encourage the darker the better. I know how weird that sounds, but
No,
I
no, you just want the reality of things. That's what it is.
right.
I get where you're going with it. You want people to
Yeah.
understand that, like, that it's evil is root. This is really happening to people. I get where you're going with it. I like it too.
Yeah, and the way like my whole interview style is that I try to really like go under all the layers, because they'll like go through something, they'll have a topic, and I do send them like emails the night before saying like, "Hey, these are the topics I'm going to talk about. Is there anything you don't want me to like shy away from?" Of course, being respectful. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable, but like the whole point is me kind of making not making them uncomfortable, but the whole point is to make uncomfortable conversations comfortable. So yes, that's the biggest thing. They have to be willing to be vulnerable on the podcast.
Yeah,
And so I would say like they have to go through it. They have to be open to being vulnerable, and then they have to have like advice, or they have to pretty much have gone through whatever they went through. So to show people that, hey, if you went through this and they went through and they came out like this, like it's possible for you. So
exactly. Yeah, I like that. Listen, I had an interesting conversation today. Okay, me and my guest at 3 o'clock, we were talking about porn addiction for an hour. How about that one for
mhm,
an interesting topic? Let me and everybody listening, it was great conversation. It really was. It was just
mhm.
one of those topics not a lot of people talk about, because when people say that, people shut down. Suicidal ideations shut down. You notice like certain topics shut people down instantly. They're like, oh well, never mind. Don't want to talk about this no more. And then they'll just get up, move away from it, kind of thing. And it was so interesting because he said 7 out of 10 men are addicted, and I'm like, dude, that's an crazy ass number though. Like 7 out of 10. I'm like, oh, okay.
I can see
So when
that.
when I pick people, I'm looking for anything. I'm looking for the most interesting people. There's actually a woman, I'm reading her memoir about breast cancer, and
Mhm.
I'm a male. Okay, so I love it. I'm loving it so far. It's great. And I had another one on Friday. She is Mia Hanks. She wrote the book. What is it? Bridemaid. It's
Oh, I
Bridemaid
had
from
her. She's so
Mia.
sweet. Her episode didn't go live just yet, but I did talk to her last week. She's so sweet. I
Oh
like
yeah,
her.
yeah. Mia and I were live on Friday. We're hanging out talking, and she said she's going to send me a copy of the book. I said the only requirement is I want her to sign it for me so I can keep it in my guest collection of stuff.
She didn't offer me a book.
Guess
I
you're
she
not.
was on
Guess
live. Hey, can you if you listen if you're watching, can you send me a book? Thank you.
I messenger Mia. Why are you sending Pete a book and not me? What the hell,
Oh,
man? That's
I
not
know, right?
cool.
I was like, wow, okay, I see what it is.
I've had several people send me books. Erica Campbell's book is the one I'm reading now, and she'll be on next week. She's supposed to be on tomorrow, but she had to reschedule, so we rescheduled for next week. So I'm reading hers. I've had another guy that's an Australian Special Forces that does breath work. He sent me a audio book, and I'm like, they're sending me all these new books and stuff like that. And then another one I had was Melissa Kim Corder. She was one of my earlier guests that I had early on in the show. She had come on twice. She was on the audio side when I first started posting stuff, and then when I went to the video side with the network, she had come on again. And then she's writing a new book too. Actually, she's working on a third book, but she hasn't told me anything about it. But she said she was going to send me a signed copy of it too. And me and her talk all the time through email, so it's great. It's been, great connections and things like that. And like I said, Melissa was the other one I told you about. Remember, she and I did a episode together. Had a great time. It's so much fun. Like I said, you got to do that one. That lady was
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes, you know what you should do because you have all these books. You have a lot of reading to do. And
Hmm.
then I think like this is what I'm gonna do. Like if I buy any of the books of the could I obviously I interview a lot of authors and I can't afford to buy every single person's book. But like when I do that and read it, I after that I'm gonna donate to my local library just so other people can, have their hands.
I might have to buy
And
another copy now, Justine, because some of these are signed, and I'm like, Erica signed it. She signed it in the book for me.
I
I'm
mean you
like, I
don't
got to
have to
keep it
do
now.
that.
I
I
got to
was just
keep it now. But maybe I'll buy the other copy of it and send it to be like, donate a book kind of thing. I do like that idea though. But she signed it for me, so I
that
don't know,
makes sense.
man.
You don't want to give that away. I get
No,
that.
no,
Yeah.
no. I love it though. It's been awesome though. Like I said, ever since the beginning of this thing, and it's been a crazy amount of following. Like I don't know, man. It's a lot going on between now and October. I got 141 interviews.
Oh my god.
Why does everybody say that? Why does it like to me that's not as shocking? I'm just like it's a lot to take in because I tried to go live as much as possible on the network. So the agreement we had was Mondays is my only one I'm supposed to do. But
Mhm.
Tom had mentioned, he said, "Hey man, if you want to do some other things, and nobody's scheduled, go and do it." So that's why we're live right now. There's a lot of people live that can see everything and all that kind of stuff. And you may see some people interacting as we go, kind of thing. It's a little different because a lot of people don't do a lot of live shows and stuff. And when they go live, it's the unpredictability of the internet just comes out, and you don't know what kind of people are going to wander in. And usually, so far, we've had no problems. But I'm waiting for that day for a troll to come visit me. I really am. It's just a goal of mine in life.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think for me, because I like do a whole like production, like edit and everything. And I
Hmm.
mean, I know you do. I feel like with live, I mean, I don't know exactly what you do on like after you do live, but I think just also just hearing the number, like that's 100 and something people. Even
141,
though,
yes, let's be exact. Let's
yeah.
flex the number right now. Yep.
Wait, so how did I get in so fast?
Because you're a special guest for the month. I've been highlighting somebody every month, and I saw what you were
Mm,
doing, and I knew that you interviewed Stephanie, and I was like, well, no, now I got to put her on now. Stephanie's talked to her. Now I got to bring her on and talk to her, ask her how it was. Because, of course, obviously, I listened to the whole episode, and I was excited. I was waiting for her to hear her mention my name. Just her when she said, I have a friend that asked, how's mere mental health? I was like, that's it. Winner. I won. That's it.
nice.
So, but
Well,
it's based on and then I go through my schedule all the time and I look at people and decide who fits into what I'm trying to do at this point. I've canceled
mhm,
on some people. I've had to cancel on a few people because I just feel like they're not fitting what I'm doing or where we're going. Because I go through and
yeah.
review a lot of their stuff, and it's like, unfortunately, you're just not fitting in what I'm doing. And I do have other podcast productions I'm planning. I'm looking at a couple other ideas right now they're still in the works. One of them is like just a general talk one. I had another one
Mhm.
that's called suggestion box, like where these people can come in and anonymously dump on whoever they want, and then we're going to read them live as people just kind of just say the craziest things. Just because I like the unpredictability of people itself, like let's see what random stuff people want to say anonymously to each other.
Yeah, that's true. Have you done like the Google Voice?
No, not yet. I should though.
Yeah, it's free. I did it. I went to Podfest, and that was one of the things they recommended to like hear from your audience. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I just created a phone number that
So So let's talk about Podfest. How was it? Like, what is it like there? Because I didn't even know this was even a thing until you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, I think you were talking to me, asking me about it, right? I think yeah. So overall, I mean, I think if you want to if you want to give my honest, I'm gonna give you my complete
Go
honest
for it. If you want the
opinion.
raw opinion, go for it, girl.
Right. Okay. So I would say I would say that I don't think it was worth my money, me personally, and then I'm gonna tell you
Okay.
why. Because I never
Okay.
want to like downplay something because everyone has different experience, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's great for beginners. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
just like starting out, let's say it's like your first year, because there's a lot of like a majority of the classes that I went to, I knew everything already. So I was just kind of like sitting there, like, okay, I already know this. I already know this thing. I know how to storytell. I know how to do this. I know how to edit. Like it was just things that I already had knowledge on. So that's where I'm just like sitting here, like, okay, I paid almost $300 for a ticket, and I'm sitting and just hearing stuff that I already know. So, but I did meet some people there, and that was the cool part. I
Yeah.
networked, so I met. There's a couple of guys that came up to me, and we just so the networking was great. So I would say that part was great. There were some workshops that I did learn some new things, which was good. I also did meet the founder of Podmatch, so that was pretty cool too, and his wife. So I chatted with them for a bit.
Yeah, that's the part you were mentioning me. You said you were talking to, oh, I'm hanging out with him right now. I said, oh, okay, flex on us some more. He actually
Yeah.
emailed me back in August, and I didn't think it was a real email at first because I didn't think anything of it. He's like, hey, you want to check out my site? And he was telling me about it. Alex had reached out to me directly and had said something to me about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll check it out. And my wife and I were discussing it. At first, we didn't think it was serious. And then I went and looked at it and I was like, oh, this is a real thing. Never mind.
Mhm.
My bad. Like I was still in the early stages of figuring things out. And I was manually booking people. Now I have the digital calendar where I can
Mhm.
add people and myself and everybody else can book themselves. So it's so much easier now. After that, because the show took off in the beginning, we were already booked to December by the end of the first month that we even had the show on the air. So
Yeah.
then I added a 3 p.m. time slot. I was like, well, let's see what happens when I add 3 p.m. Just add the overload of people there. Okay, well, that shot the end of December. I was like, okay, well, damn, something's here. So
Yeah.
middle of November, though, I shot to the almost March, right in the first day of having the live calendar. And I was like, damn, and that's just for Mondays. And because I didn't open my schedule up until this year, because I was like, forget it. If I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to go full throttle. I'm going to go live as much as possible. I'm going to get as much exposure as I can and as much content
Mhm.
as I can, with the network. And by the time the end of the year happened, I was already out to July, and I was just like, "Holy crap, dude!" And like I told them, like I'm already out to July 2025, and they're like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I started telling them, "Oh, I'm officially in October now, and I'm not even in within the first week of the month of the new year. I was already out to October." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, and I'm out to October now." And they're like, "Huh? You're what?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I am. Sorry." Well, I wanted to
Yeah.
be on the show. Well, sign up. That's all I could tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. I think I'm booked out until like beginning of April. I'm not too well. Also, my calendar doesn't go more than like 90 days. I don't like to go too far out,
I'm
but
an
that's just
overachiever.
me. That's just me, of course. I record Tuesday, Wednesdays. I just started opening up Saturdays because since I was
Hmm.
getting a lot more bookings, I was like, okay, let me open up a Saturday, just in case people can't do during the week. I think for me is I have like like a really low social battery, so I get like I can only do two a day max. Otherwise, like I get tired. I just don't. I'm not this like my social battery is just not as it used to be. But that's just me. Some people can just
Use
like
a lot of caffeine. That's my best advice. Have anxiety a little bit and a little ADHD. Just a little mixture of those things might help a little bit. Because the caffeine fuels you to go a little further. Just a thought.
I do drink coffee like during my interviews.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah.
I'm just joking with you, but yeah, I get that though. I do. This is usually a randomly. I'll do three, and I'll just kind of kick it in between them, and I space out my first two, and then this one is just the one that's really close. But I was like, you know what? I've already booked it. I'm excited about this one. I was excited when you said yes. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Because I'm trying to feature different people. And I talk about all podcasts all the time because that's all I listen to. I listen to music too, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I couldn't even list for you on one hand the number of podcasts I listen to. I cycle through all of them and get through all the new episodes because when I'm at work, I usually pop an earpiece in and I'll listen. So I'll listen to yours on a regular basis too. But I went and listened to the Stephanie interview because she's like, yeah, I was on this one. And she mentioned yours, and I was like, "What is that? I didn't even know that is. Let me go check it out." And she's like, "Yeah, I did an episode there." So I literally went and checked out the minute she told me. I popped in my
Mhm.
earpiece and was listening to it. And I was like, "Man, now I gotta have her come on here. I gotta have you come on." I was like, "I gotta get her on here because this chick's awesome." Like, I liked the way the interview flowed and how you guys carried the conversation. It was great. It was really good. I loved it. I was like, "Yeah, we gotta highlight and let her know that, hey, listen, if you don't know she's there, now you know she's there."
Yeah, I think I originally discovered you from oh my gosh, the day one, start day
Yep.
one, because
Yep.
you're on there as well. Yeah, I think
Yes, I
that's where
am.
when I first saw your name, and then when I was interviewing her, she brought up your name, and I was like, oh wait, I know who that is, and so I
Yeah,
already knew who you were, and then she brought you up, like I think we talk. I think it was
yeah.
literally a couple of days after
She
that.
kn
I'm like,
she
oh,
knows who I am, everybody. Let me start taking shots, photo shots and things.
so crazy. Yeah. And it's like I feel like also with Pod Match, sometimes I feel it could be like a small world. So if I
Yeah.
look at some people's like guest profile and I look on the bottom, I see like a podcast that I know, and I'm like, oh, I know that podcast. Like I'll see you sometimes on there, like giving a review.
She's like, "I know that guy." Like, that's where
Yeah.
we're at. We're at now that I'm actually known somewhere. It's great. And I spend a lot of time on all socials too. And there's
Hmm.
some weeks I'll just taper off because I just don't have the energy for it because my depression will kick in and I'll just like, yep, I'm good. I don't want to deal with people right now. And if anybody asks, I always tell them I'm busy because I don't like. I get people like those like say they're helpful, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't need to hear. I got my own problems. I don't need you to add on to it. I don't need you to keep adding on to it. So,
Yeah.
but I spend a lot of time bouncing around like TikTok and stuff like that because I meet a lot of people on there that talk about it all the time. I've had a bunch of people from TikTok come on.
Hmm.
There's a guy that's going to be on this Thursday named Chris that's coming on that he's got it. I don't even know what he's going to tell me, but he has some crazy story he wants to tell me. We've had a woman in the second week of the show tell me she was dead for 5 minutes and then explain what it was like to be dead. I was just like, what? I
Could
don't
you
know what to
explain to
do.
me? I'm curious.
She said, okay, so what she told me, she said is that when she had died on the table,
Hmm.
mind you, this woman had 16 rounds of chemotherapy, has like no stomach or anything, no small intestines or any of this stuff, all this stuff missing. So the scenario is she said she was on the table having an operation and she actually coded for 5 minutes. And she said what it was like is that it was just a bright room. She said it was, and she felt nothingness. She said for once in her life, she didn't feel anything. She didn't feel pain, absolutely zero anything. And she's like, I kept hearing a voice talk to me and say, hey, it's not your time yet. It's not your time. So she just kept hearing it. Is that she described it for like 5 minutes. And she was like, yeah, it was what it was like for 5 minutes. And then I came back and I said, "What was it like when you came out of it?" And she was just like, "It was just like one of those, like if you were going down for water, going down, like diving down deep, and you come back up gasping for air because it's like all of a sudden you're just back." And that's the last thing she remembered was that, the nothingness and then all that. I was just like, "Holy crap!" And this is going on second week of the show, and I didn't know what to do. I was in my mind, I'm panicking because I'm like, "Oh no, what is going to happen here? Like, what is she talking about?" And like I check out pre interviews with people too, and things they want to talk about. And this is nowhere in the paperwork. I'm like, here we go. We're going off script, guys. Get ready for the run. And it was the craziest moment of the first like few weeks of the show. And then Brian, like I said, his whole scenario thing, that was too. I was just like, I was holding my breath. I'm like, oh crap, man, what is happening here? This is gonna get ugly real quick. And it turns out really well. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. I'm still learning things as I go, man. And it's like you don't anticipate what people are gonna say, and they start talking about some crazy things, and then you're like, well, here we go. We're going on this road together.
Wow, that's crazy. So when she coded and you said that she felt nothing, saw light. So, but
She didn't feel
wasn't
any
she?
pain at all. She said she felt no pain. She was in a
But she
room
was
that was
under,
just
right? Like,
mm, she was
and
dead.
so wait, I mean,
She's
like, because when you're in, wait, was she in surgery or was
she
she?
was she was in surgery. She coded during surgery. She had passed away for officially. She was dead for 5 minutes. She said they officially counted her dead for 5 minutes. So she was dead. She said what it felt like is she was in no pain.
Uh huh.
And everything in the room was just a bright light, but she kept hearing a voice talking to her, telling her it's not her time yet,
That is so.
continuously.
That's really cool. I mean, that's weird how I said that, but that's really like intriguing
No,
because I
it's
always
interesting to
wonder.
hear somebody tell you about it, and you're like, "Wait, hold on, here we go. You were dead for 5 minutes. Hold on, tell me the story about this." It's like one of those things you don't expect someone to share. And she at first was like, "Oh, I wasn't going to tell anybody about it." And she said after like just talking to you for a little bit, it was just like a general conversation of two friends. And she's like, I just opened up and just started talking about everything. And I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, there was from my memory when I was in high school. I think there was one guy that he like apparently died for a couple of minutes too, and he was talking about like a light as well. I think
Hmm.
he was tell. You think he was saying that he saw gates, but I think he was just saying mostly lights, and then he came back or whatever. That is so interesting.
You're telling me. You're telling me.
Yeah.
That's it's crazy. This show has just been it's been great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love every minute of it. The guests are great, but you just meet some of the strangest people at the same time they tell you the craziest stories ever. And that's why I like a conversation style because it tends to get people open up and start telling you things.
Hmm.
I had Lucy Lenore, the lead singer Hunter, come and tell us that she had personality borderline personality disorder. She
Yeah.
almost was going to tell us what happened. She was getting close to it, and then she stopped. I was like, oh, we almost had her telling us and everything, and she was just so comfortable just talking to us, and it was so great because I never even knew that. Like it was just great when these other people come on with different conditions and that and stuff like that. They come on and they give people different insights on what it's like to have these things. Like everybody experiences different things. Like FND. I just have another person that's going to reach out to me about coming on with that. And that's functional neurological disorder. Basically, what it is it's like a weird things happen. Like like her hand, one lady's hand was like a claw, but it doesn't show up neurologically though. So it takes
Hmm.
like 15 plus years to diagnose this because you have to go like a process elimination to get it. But she said it's like anxiety induced. So like if she starts stressing out and her anxiety starts kicking up, she can start feeling these attacks coming and her hand will freeze like a claw. And I
Mm.
was like, that's so weird. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, a lot of times, I can feel it coming and things like that. And then she said she had met somebody else and said he got facial paralysis or in his case of it. And I was like, this is so interesting. And that's where, I started looking for more people that have certain things, because I want to know more.
You should really have that guy that I interviewed. His name is Bubba, and he's like a miracle man. He has a really great
Oh
story.
yeah. Tell me his information. Let me know how to find. Is he on Podmatch? Because I'll look him up.
Not at this time. I'm trying to convince him to go on it. When
Yeah.
I was
Well,
talking to
then,
him today, he said
yeah.
that he was potentially going to do it. But I can let him
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Ask
I
him if
just
it's
gotta,
okay. Shoot it over if he says it's okay.
I just gotta like put a reminder because I forget things a lot very easily.
It's all right. I forget a lot of things. Don't worry, man. You're right there with me. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember. I just gotta like remember Justine because I actually read a book about it's called Remembering and it teaches you like how to actually remember things. So if I like actually am present with this thought of what I'm going to do, like actually present, like my brain's not going anywhere else,
yeah.
then I actually will remember to do it. Because a lot of times people forget it's because they're not fully present and fully paying attention. I'm sure we all experience like, oh, where's my phone? Or
Yep.
oh, what was I supposed to like? What was I supposed to do with this person?
Yep.
Or it's just like things like that. And then apparently the reason that happens is because we're not fully present during that moment. So our brain doesn't actually put in like our hippocampus
Yeah.
and like confirm that it's a memory. It just kind of just goes somewhere else. Doesn't
Yeah.
exist. It's
Yeah. So,
crazy.
Justine, do you have any diagnosis yourself? Like,
Oh yeah. Bipolar,
mm-hmm.
BPD,
Let's see.
ADHD, um, sorry, CPTSD,
Yeah.
naturally anxiety and depression, of course, glaucoma in my right eye. So yeah.
Damn, girl. You just got the kaleidoscope of things, huh?
Yeah, when you asked me, I was like, okay, ready for this?
She's like,
I mean,
hold
I
on.
don't
You got a
know.
piece of paper ready?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you saw like one of the recent MAB mentally a badass posts, but I put like, oh, when you have another diagnosis, you add it to your like alphabets or something like that. I
Oh my
wrote it.
god.
Yeah, people
I
are
don't think I've
laughing at
seen
it.
that one yet, but I do look out for your stuff so I can share it and send it to other people to check out. I'm like, yeah, you guys got to check this out. This is great. Um,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I'm choking over here. Damn.
Oh, you're
But
good.
but BPD is interesting though that you have it. So for borderline personality disorder, how is it? How is yours versus what they say it is?
Okay, can you give me an example? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. So BPD, how is it like your symptoms of BPD? How are they different than what people think they are?
So I feel like at least like on movies and stuff, people look at BPD like if we're going to kill someone or just jump off a bridge or whatever. With BPD, the way that is that any person that let's say something bad happens to you,
Yeah.
you get upset, right? Let's just say you get mad about it. For someone who has BPD, they take it to a different level. It's pretty much the way they explain it is like having third-degree burns, like emotionally.
Yeah.
So we're like pretty much very sensitive human beings. Also our moods, like a lot of time people get bipolar and BPD confused, which
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
interesting because I have both, so it's even worse. So it's like, oh, which one's acting up today? But I'm on medication. I've been doing better with that, so it's yeah. But with bipolar, like there's at least a difference between bipolar and BPD. 'Cause a lot of people get confused. Is bipolar like when it comes to the episodes, they're more long. So it's like I
Yeah.
can be in a manic episode for like 2 months, or and then in a depressive episode for like a longer period of time. With BPD, it can fluctuate throughout the whole day. Like one second I'm loving life, right? Like life's fantastic, and then the next second I'm just like, fuck my life. Am I allowed to curse? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I was like, oh fuck my life. I'm just gonna jump off a bridge. Like it goes completely two extremes. Also, people who have BPD, it's from childhood trauma. It's not like genetic.
Yeah.
Of course, like me having already existing mental health issues doesn't kind of puts me in like, oh, you're most likely to get it. But like people who have BPD, they have like abandonment issues. Like that's one of the biggest things. So we have this thing like called a favorite person. We get attached to people very easily. We feel that like everyone has moments where they have to fill a void. Us,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the center of it in a way. But I guess, and people with BPD, like their emotions are so strong that it's painful. Like it can get to the point where it's physically painful. So one thing that I hate and I get nervous about is like, obviously stuff happens in life, bad things
Yeah.
happen, but I get scared when bad things happen because of what my brain's gonna do, of how it's gonna
Yeah.
react to it. So it's like I'm watching myself just blow up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be like that. Like for me, I'm on medication to at least help with the parts where like the suicidal thoughts and such. Like since I've been on medication, I don't need to jump off a bridge or anything like that. So, but it's also just takes a lot of work as
Yeah.
well, like with healing and just like unlearning behavior. Because I mean, in reality, I hate saying this, but BPD people could be toxic, but
Yeah.
we don't mean to be toxic. And that's like the sad part too, is that a lot of people they look at BPD like, oh, you're dating someone with BPD, like get out of there, like they're super toxic. And like I see that on social media, on Instagram, people would like be like run away from BPD. They're a bunch of attention seekers. They're horrible human beings, and like we know that we do certain things that
Yeah.
is not like great, but it's kind of like also I'm not trying to excuse it of behavior, of course,
Yeah.
but it's more just explaining is that sometimes we get into these like episodes and then after we're just like, oh crap, I feel like a crappy person. Like we're not bad people. It's just our brains completely takes it like a whole other way. If you were to like listen to this artist called Nessa Barrett, she has BPD and her music explains BPD so well.
Yeah.
Like her first two, like her first like two out, like not her recent album. Her recent album's completely different, but like her first like EP and her second out and her first album, it's so like there's one song called Love Bomb, and it's pretty much saying like, I'll send you love bombs after the war. And then it's like pretend like it never like happened. It's like saying like I'll sweep the glass under the carpet or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like I promise I'm not manic. I'm not manic anymore or something like that. So people with BPD can get like rages and such, which is why she talk about the glass. I personally have never like done that. But like what I have done, I would have like this big teddy bear, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I would just beat the crap out of it. And so when I'm in an episode, I try my best to not be with people when I go into an
Yeah.
episode. I learn to just go into another room or but pretty much I guess the best way to explain borderline personality disorder is just that our our way of feeling things is different than the general public. And it
Oh
can
yeah.
be really hard living in our skin, in our brain. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So does it makes relationships harder too for so many. It has to be
Yes,
on the other end of
yes.
that too.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I can talk all day about that. You know how many relationships I've been in? Actually,
Oh my god. Your response alone, that was great. You're like, let me tell you, Jesus Almighty, let me tell you. I because you know what I mean? Like people don't understand. Like I there's a girl I know that has BPD that was she's in a relationship and the one girl
who doesn't have anything of that. It's like, I don't understand all these things. And she's listing these things to me. I'm like, do you understand what your friend deals with on a daily basis? Have you really gone and looked up and just got a generalization, an idea of what it is she deals with? I think you'd
Mhm.
have a different idea how you perceive what she's doing at that point, because it was some interesting thing. Because that's how I found out about it. As a coworker had it, and she started telling me about it, and I was like, "Ooh, what the hell is that?" I'm curious. I'm like, I didn't want to ask her first, but I started noticing like little quirks. Like, she had like four different kinds of packs of cigarettes, and I was asking her, I said, "Why do you got all these different kinds of cigarettes?" And she just laughed at me at first, and then she found out I was doing a mental health podcast, and then started telling me about it. And she was like, "Yeah," and then she started telling me little bits of it at a time about it, and was like, I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck?" I'm like, "That's so interesting." Like,
Yeah.
and then dating, and like she was dating with another guy, and he was an alcoholic, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Oh
not a good
god,
matchup
that's
for
not
y'all."
good. It's
It
definitely
was
not. I
mm-mm.
I've even had like guys that left me because they just couldn't handle me anymore.
Yeah,
Like I've literally had one person like break up with me, be like, "You need to go to therapy," which is like the craziest thing because he knows that I like that time of my life I was trying to seek therapy, but my therapist kept like not showing up, like and then
yeah,
or there's like an insurance problem. It was just a lot of just I was getting disappointed so much that I just stopped for a bit because I couldn't handle anymore. And
yeah,
so it was like crazy how he told me that. I'm like, you very well know what I just went through. But anyway,
exactly.
yeah. And then so another thing too, every time like I mean, right now I'm in a long-term relationship. We're about to hit 3 years. Like we live
There you go.
together. Like
Congrats.
yeah, yeah, we're very committed and such. I don't know how he deals with me. Um then again, him and
Listen,
I
that's an idea for an interview. Justine's boyfriend's gonna come on and tell us all about how he deals with her. Okay.
hey, I think that would be really funny.
I
I
think we
should
should do
totally
that. That'd
do
be a funny thing
that.
to do, definitely. Honey, how do you deal with me on a daily basis? Well, and he's got to like answer these questions honestly while you're sitting there staring him down. Like, hey, if you get the wrong
Yeah.
answer, you're gonna be sleeping on the couch tonight. So just keep that in mind.
But the craziest thing too, I don't know how he deals with this. Sometimes I can be really mean, but
Yeah,
I just like because I get into like a certain mode and I just say like some of the cruelest things to him. And
yeah.
then like the next day he's like, fine. I'm like, because actually I was one night I was attacking for some reason. I forgot what it was triggered. It wasn't just like out of nowhere. There was a reason. I
Yeah,
didn't just randomly be like, yo, you suck. Like I just when I get triggered, I can say some things that I regret.
yeah.
So there was that. And then like an hour after that, I actually got like an email of like I work with like brands here and there with UGC and my
Hmm.
contract and they reached out to me. Our contract was like um they ended my contract. And so obviously it like upset me and I was like crying and everything, of course, naturally. And then like he's the person I go to when I'm sad. So it went from me just being a bitch to him and then him like comforting me. This was all through like text message, by the way. He works overnights.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that I like went off on him and then he was still just like comforting me with what happened. And then the next day, like I woke up, I was very depressed. I was very just like down. And then he was like trying to come and try to like, he's like, do you need anything? I get you this. And I'm just like, I look at him, I'm like, why are you being this? Like, I was so mean to you last night. He's like, I don't care. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
I could
I guess
relate to that.
he's just like,
I could relate
he's
to
like,
that.
I get
That's what I
it.
do when my wife's feeling down like that. That's what I'll do too, because she does go through some stuff like that too. She's been through a lot. Like, if I could get her to record an episode, girl, let me tell you, it would turn your hair white. The things she'd tell you, I don't even honestly don't even know what she would say. But I deal with a lot with that with her though. But it's like the way I look at it is that if you're in it, you're in it. You're not going to
Mhm.
leave halfway through it. And it's the same thing with anybody that deals with addiction recovery and things like that. You can't be half foot in, half foot out. It's either you're going to be here or you're going to get the F out. You're going to get the fuck out, basically. You need to decide whether you want to be here or not. And he understands that. He's in. He said, I'm in. I'm full throttle. I'm in. So I understand completely where he's coming from, and hats off to him, because I'm sure there's days where it's just rough, but it's like, he's not giving up on you. And that's a strong man itself right there. So shout out to him, because
Yeah.
it is rough. From what you just described, it can be rough days. And there's rough days for me too, with my wife too. Sometimes I have my own moments. I have my prima donna. I have my own, like I like to call my prima donna moments, where I go, and it's just, but I'm the same way. Like, hey, can I get you something? Hey, and you're like, I'm just constantly try to help out. If you need something, hey, can I get you some drink? Do you need this? You want me to go through this? And I get it though, but it's like, if you haven't been a part of it and you don't understand it, it's a rough ride, man. But like, hats off to him though, man. Like, he just kept his cool. Like, all right, well, I'm here. You need something? And you're looking at him like, why are you still here, man? Because it's love, man. It's love. It's love.
Yeah. I mean, he moved across the country for me, so
Really? There you go.
yeah, he
Where
used
you
to
at?
live.
Where you at
I'm in
now?
Florida
Where's he at? Where
and
was he at?
Washington State,
Damn.
like by Seattle area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
we
about.
were long distance for a year, and
Yeah.
then I said to him because he actually liked me a whole year before we started dating. I rejected him for a whole year, but then I eventually like it's gonna sound really weird, not gave in, but
Oh,
like
here we
oh
go. Here we
okay,
go.
yeah.
No, no, come on. Confessions of Justine. Here we go. Go ahead. What were you gonna say now?
It's not really confession. He knows. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I gave in, but he knows what I mean. But but well, the way we met was actually really fascinating. So, do you know what VidCon is?
Yeah.
So I went to VidCon in 2019 when I was like doing YouTube and everything, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually met him there, but like very briefly. So like we went to, I needed something. I was hungry, me and my friends. So I went to the food truck, got food, and I was trying to find somewhere to sit. And then like him and his friend were there. I didn't know who he was, of course, at the time. And I'm like, hey, is it cool if I sit here? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then I briefly talked to them for like 5 minutes and just like casual conversation. And then naturally we just followed each other on Instagram. So obviously there's a connection right there.
Yeah.
And then at the time, actually that weekend, that was when that ex-boyfriend that I told you about broke up with me during that weekend. So it's not kind of funny. But yeah, and then so after that, we didn't like it wasn't like, oh, I like her. It was just more just like, oh, like I guess just replying to like my stories or thinks I'm cool or
Oh, he
whatever.
liked you. That's guy language for he liked you, but okay.
No, when he first met me, no, because he actually thought I was a minor, so he didn't like he was actually going to unfollow me, he told me originally, because the way like I look pretty young for my age. I also had like a purple wig on as
Yeah.
well. So I guess like and also this was 2019, so this was like a decent amount ago, and I think I was like early 20s then. And
Yeah.
so he thought that I think he thought I was like a minor. So, he was just being friendly there, but he was like, oh, well, I'm going to unfollow her because I'm not going to follow a minor. But then I
Yeah.
guess he saw on my Instagram that I was out at a party drinking or something like that. So he was like, okay, well, at least we know she's 21, at least minimum. So that's where he kept me or he didn't unfollow me. But yeah, so we're talking and then like we got closer when I used to do like these like I used to like do fundraising with One Hope Wine and we did him
Yeah.
and I connected with the whole mental health thing because he was like he's big on mental health. I am too, and that's literally the reason what connected us. And so I was like, oh, let's raise money for to write Love on Her Arm. So we did that. So obviously we had to talk more on Facebook, and then he was like, oh, I'm actually starting to like you, and I was like, oh, I appreciate it, but I don't like. I obviously let him down easy because at the time I'm just like, I live in Florida, you live in Washington, like I'm not doing a whole like long term, like not long term, long distance relationship.
Yeah.
But then so yeah, then we obviously were getting talking. He's like, okay, no problem. Like I still want to be friends though. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So here and there, like, we'll talk throughout the year. And he would message me a lot, be like, hey, how's your day going? Like,
Yeah.
and then around that time in I think it was I'm trying to think, it was 20, I think at end of 2022, I
Yeah.
quit my full-time job. I used to work for Disney. I quit my full-time job and I started doing social media management for companies. I was like having my own business, freelancing.
Yeah.
And so I was able to leave a 9 to 5 and just work from my laptop. So I was like, okay, I don't have to like take off from work. Like I can literally just live there for a month if I really wanted to. So I was like, okay, let's try this relationship that I eventually gave in. And so, yeah, and then I flew over there. He actually paid for my plane ticket, which was really nice. And so, yeah, then we started dating. And then I was just like, oh, well, I guess I have that flexibility. So I'll come back and forth. Like I was like bi-coastal that year, like going
Yeah.
from Florida to Washington, Florida to Washington. And then I said to him before we started dating, and I said, listen, I'm not moving to Washington. Like that's another thing too. It's like if we're gonna be in a relationship, someone's gonna move and it's not going
Mm-hmm.
to be me. And
Right.
I said to him, like, well, the reason is because I moved to Florida for my mental health because I can't live in an environment where it's cold and it's dark because that just doesn't help me. Like I used to live in New Jersey. I lived there for 22 years.
Yeah.
That's where like my roots are at. And like that's when my mental health was worse then. So I moved to Florida. Well, what brought me to Florida was Disney. And I was just so much happier. And I prefer the heat over the cold. And I just
Yeah.
like being near having a pool in the apartment complex and just, having that vacation life 24/7. Well, it's not really like 24/7, but the first couple of years it felt like that. But either way, Washington, I mean, like Washington has some good months, but majority of the time it's kind of depressing, and he knows that. Like it'd be like raining every single day, and it's like I cannot like live in that every single day. So he was like, "Yeah, no, if we're like, if we're committed and everything, like I'll move for you." And I was like, "You'll move for me? All right. I mean, you got to keep your word on that because I told you I'm not moving." And he did. He moved.
The look, the facial expression you made, like, oh well, you better be serious, guy. I don't know what to tell you. That's why I start laughing. I'm like, oh my god, yes. Look, it's funny because me and my wife, we lived like 2.5 hours apart. In the way we
Right
met,
now? Oh,
no,
when you met.
we live together
Oh,
now,
oh,
but
okay.
we we were we were up 2.5 hours apart. She was in another part of Texas. She's close to the Oklahoma border area over there. So we had met one time, and it was just like she's like, "So when you coming to hang out with me?" So the first conversation we had was just, "Oh, when you come to hang out with me?" Because I was on this dating app, and
Mhm.
God, it was just so rough. It was rough until I met stuff with her. It was just rough, man. I had some very interesting people I was talking to, and I was like, yeah, I just think I'm gonna be single at this point. I'm gonna give up because after being in 15 years of a narcissistic relationship with my ex, it was just
Mhm.
like everything soured for me for a long time. And then I was talking to somebody, and she was long distance, and she ended up kind of start giving off the same traits and vibes. And yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm not really interested in this whole scenario type thing. So then I met my wife, and then I would drive every Sunday. I work overnight, so I work all the way up to Sunday morning, and I drive out to where she's at and go stay with her
Mhm.
for a couple days. So the distance wasn't a problem. So she eventually moved towards where I was because I was like, I'm already here. I had kids over here, and and things like that. So I get the long distance thing. I used to live in Chicago. That's where I'm born and raised from, or the Chicagoland area. Actually, I lived around there. Lived there for like 19 years, and I left. I'm like, I can't stay in this cold anymore, man. I don't like being in sub-zero temperatures all the time.
Yeah.
I missed all my friends and everything else, but it was just like I gotta go, man. I can't stay here. There's nothing else here for me. I got to go see the country. So I went down, and I've been in Texas ever since then. And this is where I've been. I've been to Houston. I've been through few hurricanes. I've had some crazy things happen while being here. You want heat? You got heat here. It's like being on the surface of the sun. Some days you're out there.
Yeah. No, I get
It's
that.
rough. It's rough. It's hot. Like you just go
Yeah.
open the oven door, leave it on, and stand there for a minute. Turn it 500 degrees and turn it on and stand there. It's kind of what it feels like in the summertime here sometimes.
Oh, trust me, I know you're speaking to a Florida person.
Oh yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I don't like I hate the summers in Florida. I mean, it is like you go outside and you feel like you just walked into an oven.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's like the one downside, but I love. Oh, sorry, no, I live like right by a fire station. Okay, I don't know if you heard that, but oh, okay, good noise cancellation then.
I used to live next to the
Um,
train station. You should experience that. I got calls at 2 in the morning from my girl at the time when the wife was the girlfriend. She's like, I hate that fucking train. And then click. That's all she would call me for, like 2 in the morning, because the train would come through. And we're
oh
like
my
literally like
god.
right out, like the distance between where my end of my window is to yours is literally how far it was for that train to be right there, because we were right next door to it
Oh yeah,
and
no, I
everything.
would
And it
not.
was horrible.
Oh yeah, no, I would never want to live near a train. I mean, when I moved here, I didn't even know that there was going to be this like the road that I'm on is like the main road where if there's like a fire or like I mean the actual fire station is not like it's like around the block, but I
Hmm.
guess this is like the road that connects to wherever because I always it's so crazy too is that like I'll just be here chilling and I just keep hearing the cops at least like once a day. And I'm just like, I don't live in like the ghetto.
I was
You
gonna
know,
say that Justine lives in the
I
ghetto,
no,
everybody.
I don't. I don't live in the ghetto. I actually like live in a pretty nice area. So I'm just like, what's happening to people? Like it's so crazy. I'm like, it's literally I'm not in the ghetto. I don't get it.
You get
Imagine
that
how it is to be in the ghetto.
You get that SpongeBob. 5 minutes later, Justine's got the police scanner out listening. What are they doing around the corner from me?
They have apps for it. I think I want to download it. I'm curious to see what's going on. I mean, for all I know,
What?
it could just be someone having a stroke or whatever. But
What did I say, guys? What did I say? I called that one. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go download this police scanner now and go listen to."
because honestly, I'm truly curious. And when I'm like out like driving too, like I'll be seeing like cops like all like yesterday I saw a bunch of cops and I'm just like, what? But it's great. I see these cops, I see all this stuff, but I never see any actual crimes.
Yeah,
Never
that could be the
once.
case. You should ask some of them about some of the stories they have. I'm guaranteed it'll change your opinion about things. I've had a guy tell me a story. I'm not going to give the full details, but he said they basically were bought using drug money to buy sex toys. And he had looked down in the car when he pulled somebody over, and the biggest thing he's ever seen was sitting right there. And he just looks at him and goes, "What the hell is wrong with y'all?" And I'm like, huh? Like I work in a gas station, so I get a lot of people that come in and tell me stories all night. I see cops all through the night. I think the craziest thing I've ever heard, ever since interacting with any kind of police officers, one guy told me he saw a poor kid end up committing suicide on Snapchat. He said the kid was trying to play Russian roulette with his dad's gun, was
Oh my
recording
God.
himself doing it, and the gun had the bullet in it. Oh yeah, and he's like, I had to watch that on repeat a couple times. He's like, I just can't get that image out of my head, and like you could see the color in the guy's face drained out. And I was like, bro, is everything good? And he's like, and he was telling me that, and I was like, what? Like I've had people tell me some wild stories, like guys come in and tell me that their kid was just they lost their kid a few minutes ago before coming into the store. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
what are you doing here then, man? Like go somewhere where it's safe, unless you feel like this is a safe space for you to be, or maybe God put you in my path that we aligned up that you were gonna come and I was gonna ask you, hey, are you okay? And he looked at me with the strongest conviction, goes, you really want to know? I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? Are you good? And then he told me that, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, hold on. Things just went 0 to 1,000 really quick. All right." And and it's just a weird ability I have with people. I just make a lot of people just tell me things like I just really good with people, and they tell
Yeah.
me the wildest stories. Like there's some stories I can't even repeat on here that are just insane of things they've told me. And
Oh yeah.
and it's just crazy things you hear all the time, man. And it just goes to say that, like, guys, if you have something you want to talk about, just talk to someone. Like, I get inboxed all the time with different people on like TikTok. A lot of people send them my way. Hey, go talk to Pete. He runs a mental health podcast. All right, well, here we go. What am I going to get today? I've had 3 people to this day tell me that they were going to off themselves. One guy just wanted to tell me about something he had to just felt like he needed to vent to somebody. So I'm always listening to that. Yeah, why not? Come
Mhm.
on, vent to me, and things like that. And I get these all the time, and it's like it's nothing short of impressive to me because I'm just like, okay, cool. And all they wanted you to do is listen to them the whole time, and that's it. I mean, you could say, you do the same way because you had suicide ideations. You probably felt the same way. You wanted to be heard or be seen. Am I not correct?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like I used to have more people reach out to me. I think ever since I changed the structure of my interviews, because it used to be telling stories. I mean, it is still telling stories, but I added like the extra component of like the advice and expert and
Hmm.
such. So that could, I mean, I still do get people like reaching out to me, but it's via email and it's more like professional
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I usually don't like I'll send them about pod match, but they never answer. I've been attracting that. I've been noticing.
Yeah, I get experts on here all the time. I get different people that come and share their stories, and it's all different things, and it's just like I'll just go for anything at this point. And it's been great though so far. The Like I said, the interviews are great and stuff like that. And the people I meet are so cool because I never would have known you even had a podcast until Stephanie told me about it. Hey, I was on this podcast, check it out. I was like, all right, cool. Let me go check it out now. And I'm always networking with new people. I'm always telling people about different things and sharing different things with people and telling people, hey, you gotta book this person. And that's
Mhm.
what I do for Melissa. I was like, yeah, hey, you gotta book Justine, you gotta get her. And then there was another one I told her, I was like, yeah. And we were trading stories really quick about a couple people on that site. This one guy literally told me what he said. He said he doesn't get paid. I don't pay. I get paid or something. He says, and then he sends me another message afterwards. I was like, okay, dude, that's cool. Like, you have a great day. Because I don't remember what it triggered him. Something I said to him triggered him, and he got mad and started making these like asinine comments. And then he had come back today and sent me another message. Like, he's like, oh, you have the best day you can, or something. Like, he's trying to get the last word in. Like, ooh, I bet that felt good for you, man, huh? Like I'm not gonna respond any further. I've already done. I've already closed off the conversation in my mind. It's like you feel
Uh-huh.
like you need to keep messaging me, like, okay, just keep messaging me. So I'm waiting for another message to come through. And me and her, mind you, are talking about this. And she said, oh my God, guess who just messaged me? I'm like, no. She goes, yep, he messaged me. And we were talking about this individual and it was like, what? And she's like, yeah, look at this is what he said. And like it's great because she had the podcast, we had done the episode together and everything. I had a blast with her and stuff like that. And it's been fun though, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's been great though. It's been a great experience. I can't even believe it. I probably have more stories after the next 141 interviews I do. I'll probably have some more things to tell you. Like I'm sending you a message, Justine, girl. I got to tell you about this shit. You got to hear about this person,
I
and
feel
you're
like
gonna
you
be
should
like,
write a book.
I am. Actually, I thought about it too. I've thought about writing a memoir about my
You
own
know,
life.
you should send me a
See,
book
I'll send you. There you go.
with an
There you go.
autograph.
I'm gonna autograph it like to Justine, my biggest fan. She's like, I'm not your biggest fan. What the hell are you talking?
Still do it. Do it.
I'm
I'll
I'm
take a
damn
photo.
thinking about that. I'm thinking about it honestly. I've considered after talking to Mia and Erica. I've been messaging her and it's like reading hers. I'm like, damn, dude, maybe I should just do it to say I did it and see what happens. Because why not? I'm almost 40 now. Why the hell not at this point? Like I see is this why not do it and just go for it? Like you never know. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Basically,
Can I share something with you?
go right ahead.
That's a really dumb question because I'm on here to share stuff. Anyway, I just say things that come out of my mouth that is
You're
just
good.
like,
I'll go
yeah.
for it. That's,
Okay, yeah, because you were saying about like, why not? I'm almost 40, I actually today just signed up for acting program, and I took an acting class last Friday because I've been having like I did some like here and there. I did like a background work and I did like the theater when I was in high school, and I did take like classes in New York when I was like 17, but I never actually really fully jumped into the industry because I was
yeah,
very intimidated.
yeah,
So then I just went down the route of like go to college, get a job kind of thing. But it was also more of like my dad wanting me to go to college because he's an immigrant and be the first, that whole
yeah,
shazam of
yeah.
getting
I
a, yeah.
get that.
So I did do that and I have my degree in psychology. But, over those years, I've been wanting to do the acting. I even like started a YouTube channel where I'll do comedy sketches all the time. And so it was always in the back of my head that it's something I want to do, but I didn't see it as being a reality
Yeah,
because of just how naturally it's competitive and such. But you know what? I was just like thinking, I'm like, you know what, why? It's not gonna hurt for me to like learn, take some class, see where it goes. So I saw a class that was like $45. There's like an acting school, like about it's like 45 minutes for me because in downtown Orlando. I'm like the
hmm,
polar opposite side. Um, and so I was like, okay, let me take this 1 day class. And it was good. I was very challenged. I didn't realize I was gonna be that challenged. So you don't know. So this is what happened. They gave me a script and I had a scene partner, and then I had to do the scene, of course. I wasn't really happy what I had to say. I had to say certain racist things, and I'm like, that's totally not my character, but you have to do what the script says.
yeah,
And so it was super uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna go into acting, I gotta detach my actual character in real life to the character I'm playing. And so when I was telling the guy, I was like, I'm like nowhere near this kind of person. Like I would never call like a black person an animal because that wasn't the script. And it was also
yeah.
the person, my scene partner is black too. So I was like, this is so like I would never
Oh
ever do
no.
something like, well, because the scene was a black person and a white person. So
He got the white person? Oh my god, this gets better. Okay, so he
well,
got
I
the
mean,
white person?
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if he's handing scripts out, right?
Mhm.
Naturally, when you have to also look at looks. So if I'm getting cast in this scene in real life, they're not gonna hire a black person saying things that a white person would say. You know what I mean? So naturally, the person had to be black and I had to be white.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the script was I had to pretty much the actual story was that the black person was like a coke whore or something like that, and like left her baby in like a trash, and then the white person adopted the baby, and it was like that kind of thing. And the scene was like the black person trying to fight back to get the kid back, and then so like the person, like the character that I was playing wasn't like a blunt racist person, because if you're like raising a black child, like you're not really like racist, but you're like an ignorant racist, meaning like words just come out of your mouth that doesn't get filtered and it comes
Mhm.
off as like wow, like really horrible.
Yeah.
So that first, because basically we had to break down the scene, and then he was asking me questions like, oh well, what do you think she's like, why would she say this, or what do you think, like, do you think she's actually is racist? I'm like, she's like, well, she's not, because she's has because also the coach was black too, and so it's coming from him as well. And so I think it was definitely because at first I'm just like, am I really playing a racist? But it's like there's two different races, a blunt racist and like an ignorant one. And I was like, oh, so I just learned the difference between two. But anyway, that scene was so uncomfortable. And I did tell him, I'm like, yeah, this is so uncomfortable because I'm like nowhere near this kind of character. And then he was like, well, just remember to not judge your character, to justify your character. Because I'm not supposed to be like, oh wow, this person's horrible. It's like I cannot think badly of the character that I'm playing. I have to be in that character's like
Yeah.
spot and understand why would I call this person an animal. And the reason is that she was angry that she was going to take the kid back, so she said things that obviously weren't the nicest things. So even though it's obviously not wrong, clearly, but it's like I can't if I'm playing the character, I can't judge the character. So like, I mean, it makes sense. It's good advice. It's good advice.
Yeah.
So so that was an interesting experience that I've had. But anyway, so they have like a 12-week program, so I just signed up for that, and hopefully I don't have to pay any more horrible people. Like I don't know why. Like when I was in the
Oh my
play,
God,
when I
yes.
was in the play in high school, I also played like not an evil person, but not like the nicest people. I'm just like, do I come off like a bitch? Like,
Oh
like
my
why do
God,
I?
yes.
And plus, all these people who give me
It's like,
this
do I have a
amazing
resting
cast
bitch
are
face? Come on, guys. Can you stop?
honestly, I'm just like, oh my god, because like typically when you're in the industry, you kind of have a brand. Where have you
Yeah.
noticed if like people play like the similar characters in different movies and shows? And so I'm just like, please, I do not want to be the bitch that gets like casted and like I don't want to play the character that everybody hates. Like, yes. Anyway, my point is
She's like,
that
I don't want to be the villain of your story. Stop making me be.
I don't want to be the villain. So yeah, so basically what I was saying is that I just went for it. I'm like, you know what? Let's see. I mean,
Right.
when you go into acting school, and actually Mandy Moore came out of that school. Mandy
That's
Moore. And
interesting.
have you watched Fuller House? Have you ever
Yep.
watched Fuller? So you know
Yep.
Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually teaching a class in April. And
Oh,
I think
get
I'm
out of here.
gonna
That's awesome.
it's a single workshop. It's a little bit pricier than the others, which makes sense. It's 150 for the class, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's worth it because I like to be coached by him. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Guys got a
Yeah.
show on Netflix. Tell me whatever you need to tell me, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm definitely hopefully it didn't get full. I didn't sign up for it just yet, just because I already just paid for a program and I'm not trying to like drain my accounts. But I definitely think that would be so cool.
Oh, that sounds like
But
it's gonna be a great time though.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for
So
it.
all right, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Peace vs. Anxiety. Justine, do you want to plug your? Obviously, you're on Apple. Are you on pretty much everything else for the mentally badass?
Yes, I'm on all platforms and on YouTube as well.
Oh, she's on YouTube as well, guys. Do you want to plug anything else? Your Instagram and all that other stuff. You're on Instagram. Are you on anything else like TikTok? Oh, you're on TikTok as well. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. You're on TikTok. Hello.
Yeah, so at Mentally Badass on Instagram, and then Mentally Badass podcast on TikTok. And then we also have a clothing line too, mentallybadass.com. So if you're
Yeah,
interested in
that
like
she's got a
shirts
clothing
and
line, guys. Go
stickers.
buy a T-shirt or sticker or something. Damn it. Okay, get over there now. Do it. All right. Anyways, but I'm Pete First Anxiety. You guys know where to find me. Pretty much everything like a visa ever you want me to be. Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads. God, I can't even list them all. TikTok and everything else. Rumble as well. You know where to find me. I'm Pete for Anxiety. I'm here every day, pretty much every day of the week this week, and every other day, anytime I can. Mondays usually is my base camp. Mondays at 10 a.m., 3 p.m. Thank you again, Justine, so much for coming. This was a great time. I had a freaking blast, man. Definitely. And I'll definitely have to send you some funny stuff as they go and see if any more oh shit moments happen. I'm like, oh my God, I got to text her and tell her right now. Oh shit. You'll see me typing like 2 a.m. Oh God, this has got to be good. You're sitting there waiting in anticipation. Anyway, guys, I'm Pete versus Anxiety. Sorry. Mental brain going down. I'm fried today, guys. I apologize. Anyways, guys, as I always say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do can save somebody's life, or you can make somebody's day. I'm Pete versus Anxiety saying, hey, don't ask how your day is. Ask how your mental health is.